Hello, my name is Lukas Malmberg, and I am from Sweden. I came here to the US to St. Bonaventure University to play tennis. I was very passionate about tennis when I graduated from high school, and I could not do anything else but think about tennis. I've always kept my grades and school very high regard. I've always maintained good grades. I was very competitive I am still competitive, but I was very competitive in high school and always tried to get the best grades. And also, that's what I'm trying to do here. And that's why I've been able to maintain a 4.0 throughout my college career here. But I came here to play tennis, and frankly, I've loved 4 years of prolonging my tennis career. And that's been something that I'm very happy about because it would have ended 4 years ago. But I came here and started finance and accounting. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do when I came here, and I just thought that finance was a good place to start. I mean, my dad had been a serial entrepreneur, and it's always something that inspired me. And I thought finance was the way to go because I wanted to start my own company one day. And my first summer internship was in private equity, and I did that in Sweden, Gothenburg. And I got to kind of shadow my stepdad a lot because he's a partner at a private equity firm, and he taught me a lot about the Swedish private equity market. I got to be involved in quite a bit of different deals and participate in the creation of investment memorandums and evaluating them. And I thought it was fun, but what really hit home for me in finance was dealing with startups. And the subsequent summer, I was able to get an internship in Frankfurt, where I got to interact with a lot of startups through Accelerator Frankfurt. So this was an accelerator, and they had an incoming wave that they called them. This is similar to a batch, but yeah, I got to interact with a ton of different startups. I started out as a community manager, and I was told early on that the more you work, the more responsibility you will get, and so I mean, I had come there with the goal to create the same amount as three interns. So I had very high ambitions coming there, and I wanted to make the absolute most out of the summer. And I started out off as a community manager, kind of booking meetings and taking care of more administrative stuff. But as I got more involved, as I was eager to help my the CEO, because it was kind of a small company, eager to help the CEO. I got to do more and more fun stuff. I got to read investment memorandums. I got to look at different companies that were applying to the accelerator. I got to do research on them, check the due diligence aspect of the different companies that were applying, and I also got to take meetings with them personally, and which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that, and it was something that I've never really experienced before in finance. It was very exciting, high paced. I'm quite I like risk. I would say, because I do get really bored when people talk about bonds and 2% and interests and so forth. That's not really for me. I'm more high paced. I really like that environment in an accelerator Frankfurt. And so I had a blast over the summer, worked there for 3 months, and they were really happy with the work I did. I mean, I was the first one there every single day, and I was the last one to leave every single day. And this, I wasn't getting paid much. This was because I really liked what we were doing. I really wanted to learn these things. So yeah, once my end date came up, they said, well, listen, we've been very happy with you, and we would like you to continue working for us from the US. So, and I was super excited about that. And then I came back here to the United States, upstate New York, and continued my last year. I started in the fall of 2019, and yeah, continued working for Accelerate Frankfurt. Continued doing the stuff that I still could do from a remote location, and that went well. I did a lot of the screening at this time because that was still, I still had access to all the different tools and so forth. So I could, still do a lot of research, still do the due diligence, initial due diligence at least, on the different companies that were coming in, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then we ended up splitting ways in January because they were raising a fund, and they needed more people on site to do this. There was not much you could do from remote all of a sudden. So, we parted ways in a very, friendly way, and I still keep in contact with them to this day. And so now I had a lot more time on my hands, and I decided to start the Venture Brief podcast, which you can see the mic here. But this is something that we've been working on, me and a colleague from Frankfurt that I made a great friendship with. And we've been working on this podcast now for about 3 months, and we've had some amazing founders on. And it's a venture capital and startup focused podcast. We interview people that have experience in VC and are also founders, and anyone that is really kind of heavily integrated into the startup ecosystem in whatever geographic location that they're at. So we've had Unicorn founder Jack Greco on. We've had Rubicon Venture Capital founder Andrew Roman on, 3-time author. We've had on Brendan Rogers, founder of WAG, and 2AM Ventures. So we had just an amazing batch of people come on already, and it's been super exciting interviewing these people, and I've learned a ton. I've made great friends with these people, which I did not expect. I mean, you get closer to someone than you think in a 45-minute questioning session back and forth. So that's been a really exciting part about the last couple of months. And next week we have 9 interviews coming up with very exciting people, and I'm just stoked to release those episodes. But it's been such a hack for me because I wanted to speak to more venture capitalists, because after my Accelerated Frankfurt session there in Frankfurt, I grew very passionate about venture capital. I read a lot of the books that are out there, and I wanted to learn from people that are in the industry. And if you just ask them, hey, do you have 20 minutes to talk to me, to give me advice? I mean, there's not a lot of people that are going to be willing to do that. But once you ask them, hey, do you want to be on a podcast? They're happy to do it, surprisingly. And, at the end of the day, they get something out of it, and I get a ton of value from it as well. So that's been a real revolution in terms of how my understanding of the venture capital industry goes, because it's a perfect industry to do this. Why? Because it's venture capital is a lot about, in my opinion, a lot about networking and knowing the right people, and getting access to deals that you otherwise wouldn't have if you have those right connections. So it's been a great way to kind of expand my network and also learn at the same time. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me. Trying to think if there's anything else that is worth mentioning. I mean, I read a lot. I take care of my health. I'm obviously been an athlete for my entire life, and I view my well-being and health as one of my top priorities. Work out regularly, eat pretty good. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think, but I mean, I think that's most of me. And I'm super excited for this Newchip internship. I can't wait to hear back from you guys. I should mention that I do have an offer in for a private equity company in Boston, but venture capital is really where I want to be. And to be frank, that position would just serve as a stepping stone for me to get into venture capital. And if I could, I would much rather dive straight into venture capital and start learning right from the get-go rather than going into private equity. So yeah, I'm just happy to get this opportunity, and I hope you guys liked this video.